This could be a David Letterman top 10 biggest mistakes buying real estate in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm Michael Allen for TravelCostaRicaNow.com, and by gosh, we're going to talk real estate. We got an expert here. I'm so excited, man. He's a YouTuber as well, and he does everything real estate. He talks about the laws of real estate, talks about square footage and all those things, and we're going to pick his brain today because he knows the field. I don't know the field.
Yeah.
Matt, thank you very much. Matt lives
Nice
up in
to be here,
Tamarindo, and that's where he's a real estate agent. And we are going to go over today the biggest mistakes that people that are going to buy real estate tend to make. And there's about 10 of them.
Yeah.
This could be a David Letterman top 10 biggest mistakes buying real estate in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Take it away, Matt.
Well, from my perspective, I get a lot of calls from people that they're starting their search into Costa Rica. And I honestly think that the largest single mistake that most people make is that before visiting Costa Rica or before realizing that this is actually the right decision for their lives, when they're thinking about, oh, should I move to Costa Rica and what's it like to live there and is this a good idea, they pick up the phone and call a realtor at that stage in their search. A realtor, of course, has an interest in eventually selling you property and is a salesman first. Yes, you can find people with integrity on, but by and large, those people that you call, oh, should I move to Costa Rica?
Yes, you should. You should come tomorrow. Have you ever been there? No.
Exactly. And instead of calling the realtor at that phase in your search, what I really advocate that people should do is come to Costa Rica, use a great travel agency to book a wonderful tour, spend a few days in a lot of different locations, come back a second time, a third time, etc. Do your own research about where you want to live and whether it's the right decision without talking to a realtor because it's going to be a sales pitch.
You really shouldn't even be at that stage yet, right? Is what you're saying. We're not even talking to you yet.
Correct. You know, I'd love to get more calls. I've been to Tamarindo 8 times. I know the area. I think that these 4 blocks are really where I want to live. I love the town. I'm ready to buy real estate. That's when people should start contacting realtors. Once they've decided, yeah, I know that Costa Rica is right for me. I know that this part of the country is right for me. This community, even this neighborhood, this is where I want to be, or I know more or less that this is actually right for me. Now let's ring up a real estate agent and start talking about what I can get for what price, because yes, a lot of people are going to get that first enthusiastic call and try and take you all the way to the purchase table without really trying to get you to check your soul, you know, and saying to you, hey, you called me up all enthusiastic about this. Is this really the right decision for you? And they're not going to necessarily disclose or go over all of the negatives about where you're thinking about living, because
well, they're going to try to sell you. You're prime almost. You're almost prime for making that 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I should have that diamond bracelet.
Yeah,
it looks so good on that lady.
Exactly, for sure. And there are realtors with integrity, but they are not the people who should help you decide whether Costa Rica and whether Tamarindo is right for you.
I think it also kind of falls into that whole, I went to Costa Rica on vacation and I fell in love with it, where you're kind of coming from more of a romance type, because I think we all know that live here, traveling here and vacationing here has no correlation to actually living here. I think it kind of falls in that same kind of category. I loved it. It was so great. I want to move there. Well, back up,
Yeah, exactly. Don't ring up a realtor on your last day of visiting. Our office in Tamarindo, I sit there on Fridays, and I can't tell you how many people are looking at the real estate listings the day before they leave at the end of their first week. And, oh yeah, I want to come back, I want to buy, on, and we give them our card and we want to talk to them a bit more, but really, you have to remember that the real estate agent is making a pitch, and you have to figure that out for yourself, whether that reality of living here is the best decision.
Yeah, that's a big one. It seems so commonsensical, but when you're kind of in it,
yeah,
when you're kind of in it, it's like, no, I really want to be there. I swear.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
All right,
sure.
Let's go. There's some more.
Another big one that I see is that people do not do enough due diligence on their realtor. Here in Costa Rica, professional standards are totally different than in the United States or Canada. This is an absolutely different sort of playing field that you're looking at. And a lot of times people end up working with a realtor because, okay, I emailed 7, only one of them got back to me within 24 hours, and I'm working with that person. And yeah, maybe they have a brilliant response time, they're on their phone constantly. You should then, if you've got sort of a feeling for 3 or 4 realtors, go into that community, read their Google reviews, read their Facebook reviews, connect with other people that have bought from them, connect with other people in the community, find out their reputation, and don't just accept somebody sort of, oh, I met this guy at the bar, we're both from Indiana, we really clicked, I feel like I can trust him. That person might be super nice, they might totally successfully help you purchase a property that's great and has everything good about it, but you might find out 2 years later that that guy was only showing you 2 out of 50 available homes in the area because, you know, they were trying to sell that particular listing for some reason or whatever. And so really, before committing to working with a realtor, I think people need to pause more and actually research who that person is, what their history is in the community, and how they do business. And it's, you know, these are such small communities we're talking about. It's not hard
to find out.
No.
Well, you know, this was what I did. I had a friend, we became friends. So what happened with me, why would I ask somebody else a question when I have a friend who's going to answer that? So I had no checks and balances. So it'd be like, hey Matt, you sell real estate, now we're friends. You become very friendly with me because we're both from Indianapolis. And I'm like, I like this, and I wasn't checking balancing somebody because I liked you, we're friends. Why would I ask him over there when I have my friend Matt to tell me?
Absolutely.
And so, and everyone says the same thing, but we were friends. He was nice. He was good to me. I never saw it coming. No, seriously, this happened to me. It's very easy to get sucked in, especially when the other person, that guy, is good at what he does.
Yeah.
Hey Michael, how's Vegas today, man? Been thinking about you. Hey, wanted to, you know, how's the wife? How's the kids? You know, you get sucked in and you're not even really aware of it. And next thing you know, this guy, my friend, is you know, finding me, you know, my condo on. Yeah. You know.
Absolutely, and I think potential buyers need to grill their realtor on questions like, are we going to look at listings from other brokerages? Are you going to really give me the full spectrum of what's available? You know, how are we going to work through this process and try and find someone who is genuinely going to advocate for your best interests and not someone who has the mantra, you know, I'm here to make deals happen. And you hear realtors say that, you know, our job is to make sales happen. Well, that's not at all what your job should be. It's looking out for your client's interests, and many times your client's best interest is, don't buy this yet, it's too expensive, this isn't the right fit for you because it's too far from that private school, etc., etc. And you need to know that your realtor is somebody who's going to say, look, this is the wrong decision, we need to keep looking, take it easy for another 6 months and see if we can find a better fit, rather than, you know, if you get into that first tour and all that person does is say how great certain listings are, or, you know, you're just going to absolutely love this and really selling you on something, immediately a red flag should go off in your head. And instead you want to be talking to someone who's saying, well, look, this does have X, Y, and Z con. It has L, M, and N pro. This is the property, and not, man, I think you should get this. You know, this is the one. We're here. Let's go write up an offer.
This doesn't happen too often.
Yeah. I saw this opportunity, man. If he's willing to go down that low, you know, you should feel very much that your realtor is in your corner and they're only guiding you through the process and giving good advice and not edging you through the process and saying.
It's like if every question I ask you is a yes, you know that's got to be a red flag, right? You haven't told me no on anything.
Yeah.
Everything is great.
Yeah.
Everything is monkeys with my coffee in the morning and it's paradise.
Yeah.
You're not hearing that.
Exactly.
Like what you were saying earlier. Well, it floods over there during this time of the year, and we need to consider you know, these things.
Exactly. And people should have a feeling that they're getting the absolute full picture. It will never be perfect for any property, but the realtor should be giving you the full panorama. Yeah, this property, you're not going to like this and that because you wanted to be closer to school, but really more often, I think you see the majority, a lot of agents or commission earners here in the country are really just trying to get that person to the point where they're ready to buy, come hell or high water.
Downplaying the cons and
Yeah. Oh, but you're going to be so busy with this, you won't even notice the noise from
It's
next
not
door.
a problem.
It's
not really a problem.
Another, when people are choosing to work with realtors down here, a lot of clients come down here and try and find the best deal by emailing as many realtors as possible and sort of pitting them against each other. Hey, I've even had people tell me, I'm going to be seeing property on Friday with Remax, or, they're playing the field and asking everybody, present me your best option, and I'm going to be the smart one who does, I'm going to take the pick.
They always think they're the smartest person in the room. You know what I mean? They're like, you better be on your game because I know what's going on down here, and I'm talking to a lot of people, man.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I'm talking to a lot of people.
I know everyone in this town, so you better find me the best price. Well, what you've just done is said, I'm not loyal to anybody, so nobody should really be my advocate, but instead, I want whoever can convince me that their product is best, I'm going to buy that product. And you've just turned the whole
the best
field.
salesman, the best manipulator, the best playing on that guy's weaknesses or whatever it is, and going that route with him. Oh, you're so smart, man. I can't fool you.
Yeah.
So this is what this property is, and you got me, and we can do. Yeah.
Exactly, and rather than having someone who's willing to take them through the process of let's weigh all these pros and cons of different areas, etc., you're now getting rapid fire sales pitch from different listing agents, and you're trying to weigh all of those factors. Instead, the real estate commission is likely going to be the same number, 6% or 5% in some situations, whether you've got an agent involved or whether you're going directly to a seller's agent. If the seller's agent makes a sale directly to a buyer, they're usually charging that full commission. So what you've just done is the transaction still costs the same amount, but you don't have somebody who's legitimately in your corner, and instead somebody who's legitimately in the seller's corner, and you're sort of on your own judging between these different seller's agents. And a lot of times you're not going to get the best advice. You're going to have sales pitches instead of really advocating for what your interests
It's
are.
almost like saying, well, I'm so smart on real estate, I don't even need a real estate agent. I'm going to kind of do it myself, and I'll just get a lawyer when I need to do that part of it.
Yeah.
I know it. I think that actually is probably a big mistake, thinking, I used to kind of think different of this too, but you really do need a real estate agent down here for the most part. I used to say, well, I've been down here a long time, I'll just go walk the streets.
Yeah.
And I'll find that house I like, I'm going to talk, and then I'll get a lawyer. But
Yeah.
the real estate agent brings so much more to the game, actually.
For sure. And a lot of these people also think, well, the real estate agents here are all crap, so
Somewhat true.
Yeah. I'm going to pit them against each other because they worry, if I pick an agent, they're only going to show me their own listings and they're going to try and weasel me into something. That can happen, but if you pick the right agent who's not trying to weasel you into buying a particular listing, and you've got someone who's legitimately on your team, then the whole playing field has changed, and you've got a local realtor with experience and knowledge battling all of these sales pitches going on, weighing those against reality, especially because here, typically when you're seeing a property, the listing agent is present, and you get that full-on presentation of all of the potential the property has, how great everything is, and you need to get back in the car with your own agent so that they can say, yeah, well, they didn't mention the fact that there's an administrative warning against the farm. They didn't know, that the sun comes in from this angle and you're going to burn up in the afternoons. This, that, and the other, because...
And then to your other point real quick, when you're pitting the real estate agents against each other, you're almost guaranteeing the worst of each real estate agent. Even if they don't mean to be, they're like, man, this guy's playing, so I gotta bring it, and I gotta think manipulation. I gotta think how. And they're not, so now you're making the real estate agent not even really come from like a more I don't know, a better place. Right?
Correct.
I want a good.
You're turning it into the wrong procedure.
Right, and you're going to get what you deserve on that.
Yeah.
Because now they're going to.
Yeah.
But that person always thinks they're so smart. That's the thing.
Oh no, absolutely. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that we could move on to, I think. People not willing to listen to advice that they receive here in Costa Rica. It sounds like such a basic principle of how you should live your life, but the level of stubbornness that people bring at times to investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in a foreign country and really not being willing to admit that I don't know this enormous body of things that I should know, and really just sort of assuming, well, I'm sure if I get this business, for example, I could run it better, I could have it turning a bigger profit, and it's actually going to work out for me. Or, well, a lot of people buying properties that they think they're going to be able to fix up really well, or that they're going to be able to turn into some amazing B&B, where really, whatever it is, you have to, moving to Costa Rica, you have to be willing to listen to people who have been here.
Well, I think that comes down to what that whole, they think they're the exception to all the rules.
Yeah.
I hear what Matt says. He has great advice. I totally get it. But he doesn't know me.
Yeah.
I know things, and I'm that exception. I'm that guy. I'm that one of the 100.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't know what that's all about, but there's a lot of the one of 100s. People, they all think they're that person. It's unbelievable because their circumstances is different. It's so different, I'm the exception.
Yeah. I won't get taken advantage of. A lot of times people won't listen to advice in personal relationships down here where they'll hear from 5 or 6 people in the town, look, this guy is crooked, just let him be, don't work with him. Oh no, I
had beers with him.
Yeah, I had beers with him. He's got this great presentation on, and a lot of times if you hear something from several different people here, you have to be willing to accept that there's a grain of truth to it. Check your own ego at the door and take things slower, whatever it is, but don't just assume that you're going to be better and more immune to all of these problems that can spring up.
Yes, this is true. It's funny because I used to, we've been down here a long time like you, and when you get new people around and they're asking you like things like, man, I'm going to start this business and I'm going to do this, and I'm nice. I mean, I like, hey, have your ideas and stuff, but I try to think about this, think about, these things, have you thought about this, maybe do this, and they, no, I'm just telling you, I've been down here 15 years. I've seen you 3,000 times.
Yeah.
I've talked to you 3,000 times.
Yeah.
And it's just, you get to the point where, yeah, that sounds good. Try that.
Go ahead, try it. And a lot of, business ideas,
so
you
sad.
see that
it's so
frequently.
Sad.
Yeah.
It's so sad to watch. Well,
investors that come down with the spirit of building a business, and maybe if they would have asked 10 people, why hasn't there been an amazing falafel restaurant on this corner? If I come with my falafel right there, it's got a great view, it's in a perfectly beautiful spot.
I know falafels.
Yeah, well, this is actually a rural route, and it's dusty as all get out for half the year. So if you open a restaurant within 30 miles, obvious things that they might have gotten if they would have just... Yeah.
No, it's funny.
Yeah.
I liked your other good. I thought when we were talking earlier, I thought that point about the patience was really good.
Absolutely.
Too, because I've seen this in not just real estate, but all kinds of ways where people actually are doing the right things. They did their research. They did their homework. Well, I'll let you go.
Absolutely. Well, the point about patience being, really having the discipline to walk away from a real estate transaction when it's not right, having the patience to wait for the price that is right for real estate, and I think many people end up making hasty decisions, like you're saying. A lot of people who try to do their due diligence, they've been looking at Costa Rica for 3 years, they came down for 6 months, they've rented, they're ready to buy a property, and finally they push through with something because they're excited, they want to finally do it. But I had people walk away from a condo in near where I live we had the most silly little problem with the developer interrupt the deal, but at the time it showed that the developer, by not providing this tiny bit of information that we had requested, they were showing that they were totally inconsiderate, that they didn't really have their stuff organized, and all of a sudden we were feeling the signal that it's wrong. This was after 6 months of property search, their second trip down, they were really ready to go, and it just didn't feel right, and it was time to say, if they're not even going to be able to produce this list of furniture that is in the condo when we move in, which was the thing that held up the deal, obviously they're not organized, let's walk away. And it turned out that these developers were super disorganized and that it really wasn't a great transaction in the first place. A year later, they found a condo that was 2 stories up and $40,000 cheaper. So you have to be willing, and your realtor has to be willing. That's a big qualifier for your realtor. Try telling them, look, I might visit this time and I may decide to buy something, or I may decide that it's next year. See how your realtor reacts, and they should be there for, this is an 18-month, 24-month process. And even then, at 2 years, if we get down to due diligence and we find something funky about the property, we'll wait and make it 3 years or 4 years. But people get to that point where
I don't think people should underestimate it, because I actually would say this is probably one of the biggest mistakes. I've seen this time and time again, and it's people making good decisions all the way up until the point, but they're sitting there, they can feel the keys in their hand, they've been in that condo 10 times in the last 3 weeks, they're ready to move in, and they hear a little bit of bad news, and then all of a sudden their brain checks out. Oh yeah, that doesn't sound like nothing. Let's go.
Yeah.
And it sounds easy when we say it, but it's hard for people to walk away, and it's maybe even harder for real estate when he's going, man, I can take this commission. My kid's going to private school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Really,
so I've
very
seen
much
this,
so.
I've seen this with rental. I made a video about this not too long ago. The guy did everything right.
Yeah.
And at the last minute he didn't.
Yeah.
At the last minute it was just like, this is my place, and it didn't matter what this guy was saying. He had it in his head. He did everything. Yep. And he just overlooked the bad.
Yeah, and what everyone needs to realize is that this is a slow real estate market. There are sellers accruing. There are always going to be great properties available. Especially now. Take your time. Do not feel pressure. Even when you finally found what you figured to be your dream property, don't let your mind stop working. Oh gosh, the view is so great, I'm gonna just say it's okay that there's a lien on it or whatever. Just really be willing to walk away, because you can always buy a property down the road, but taking back that bad decision is a heck of a lot harder, like you've covered. It's tough to sell here, especially if you buy a lemon of a property that turns out
to begin with.
Yeah.
And you know what the fact is, it may not be a lemon, but most people, they make the mistake, they've gotten Gringo Priced from the gator. They've already paid too much because they didn't do their due diligence, or they trusted friend over here. So they started the whole interaction by overpaying. Now, but they still like it, whatever, but maybe 2 years later it's not working anymore. They want to sell it, and they can't.
Exactly.
And how many stories? There's just a million of those stories. I don't know how to even say it. There's a million of them.
Very much so. And and I think a lot of those stories they were facilitated by someone here on the ground who wanted the transaction to happen for that paycheck instead of really taking on that person's best interests. And the Gringo pricing comes because the agent just wants that deal to happen, and they don't want to say to their client, look, I think we should hold out in negotiations.
There's a lot of perfect storm stuff happening. It's not. That's not just the realtor's fault.
Yeah.
Gringo pricing doesn't have to exist. If you do your homework, you cannot be Gringo Priced, in a sense.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to sell me a condo, I'm going to go talk to these other people that bought a condo. Yeah. So I'm going to know ballpark. So if you quote me $50,000 over that just to throw it out there for fishing me, say how stupid I am, then I'm done with you. I already know you. So you can't really blame. I mean, a salesman is trying to make money, and as long as you kind of know that, you can kind of do your little checks and balances a little bit too. So Gringo pricing doesn't necessarily have to exist if people did what they're
correct.
Doing, so.
Yeah, and getting Yeah,
I mean, you got to accept some responsibility in interaction.
totally.
You know, so it's easy to go, oh yeah, he cheated me. No, you let him cheat you in a sense.
Yeah, and you wanted to buy this despite the fact that if you would have looked at the numbers, you would have seen the last person to buy one of these condos paid 30 less. And remember, it's about a 10%, maybe 11 or even 12% total transaction cost to sell a property. Some of that can be paid by the buyers, most of it's paid by the sellers. That turnaround, that 10 or 11%, kills you if you start off with Gringo pricing above where the market was. Now you have to resell, cover your cost and the price you paid, and you're going to end up with a substantial loss.
In summary, if you've listened to this, you're not the exception to the rule. If you listen to these, you're going to be off to a good start. If you want to buy property, real estate, even start a business in Costa Rica, I think.
Yeah.
Matt, thank you very much. We're going to be talking to Matt again. You just can't let all this expertise go to waste, right? All right, thanks, Matt. I'm Michael Allen, travelcostarica.now.com. Peace, guys. Oh, tell them your website. Tell them how to reach you.
Matt Rosensteel, Costa Rica Matt is my YouTube channel, so it's pretty easy to find. You could do hashtag Costa Rica Matt all together, and I should come up there.
There you go. I'm Michael Allen, travelcostarica.now.com. Peace, guys. I know it helped. I know it helped.
Thank you.